What's up, guys? It's Looney TNT, and this is my top 10 favorite mounts. It's probably going to be different than a lot of people's, but this is just my top 10, and let's go ahead and get started with the first one. So here's my number one. As you guys can see, it's the Koto. The Koto is by far my most favorite mount of all time, just because it was my very first mount that I ever got. Not this one, obviously, but it was the Koto was just, I remember walking through Crossroads and seeing a Koto, and that's the first thing I wanted to kill. So it's one of those things that might not be the coolest mount for a lot of people, but it will always be a cool mount for me. The Raptors always look cool as a mount. You know, watch them run. You just look like you run fast. So that's why it has to be on my top 10 list, just because Raptors in general are awesome, especially this Raptor. This mount right here, though, this Lich King, for everybody that played during Lich King, knew this was the mount. This was the epicness, the glow in the heart, the bone dragon. It was just too cool. Here's another mount that's pretty fantastic. It was the Proto Drake. This Proto Drake was, when you look at Proto Drakes, they don't look as cool as they do, you know, today's standards. But the Proto Drake was one of those mounts that you look at and it's just like, wow, it walks on its wings. It was probably one of the cooler mounts when they first brought them out. This mount everybody's going to think is stupid. But for me, this mount was my very first ever flying mount that I ever got. And this is on my wife's account, so, you know, it's not this isn't my personal one. But this one was too epic. The very first flying mount that I ever got, I remember flying coaches, you know, or flight pass all the way through wherever I was, and always wanting that one glitch where you could actually stay on your griffin, you know, if anybody remembers that. The Bronze Drake, one of the easiest drakes to ever get, but one of the first drakes that I actually ever achieved in an actual timed run where I didn't know what we were doing and let's try to get this. We got to go as fast as we can. I did it. I got the Bronze Drake. I won it. It was super fantastic. Look at this mount. Why is this mount so cool? Other than it's an elephant or a mammoth. But it was one of those first mounts that you could actually have people on. It was a 3-seater mount. It was just one of the coolest things that at the time that you could get. Obviously, why not? It's a motorcycle. This was the mount when it first came out for engineers. Engineers could make this. I remember people would go to Oldham and they were like, "I'm disenchanting." Well, not disenchanting, but all the mechanical stuff. They'd take all the pieces off. It was just cool. This mount, the Hearthstone mount. Why is the Hearthstone mount one of the cooler mounts for me? Not that it's very easy to get, but I loved the mane and the tail on this. The mane on this was it was one of the cooler things that I've seen on horses. So you know, that's why it has to be one of them. Now, the last one, the Onyxia Drake. Why is this mount one of my favorite mounts? The Onyxia Drake is one of the rarest mounts in game to get. But it's also a mount that I ran every week with my wife to try to get this mount for her. I would do it on all my characters. She would do it on all her characters. All her low characters that couldn't solo it would go with mine that could solo it. We did it so many times, and she finally got this mount, and I will never go to Onyxia's lair again. So, if you guys liked this video, make sure you guys hit that like button, and I'll talk to you guys later. Also, link in the description for my wife's top 10. Her top 10 is a little bit more cooler mounts. These are just mounts that I grew up with, playing the game, and you know, I can't look back away from them. Alright, thanks guys.